Good day everyone. Today we will discuss all about the operational and safety procedures, practices, and regulation in a magazine setup. This topic morely focus on fire drills, earthquake drills, causes of fire, PPE, and occupational equipments and techniques. So no more alibis, let's start. In magazine, we usually first see the cover page. Some usually call this the front page, and some people call this the title page. So on our cover page, you'll see our descriptive title, which is the Protection Against Hazardous Incidents. And on the making of this magazine, of course, we included our main topic, which is the operational health and safety procedures, practices, and regulations. We also added the university logo and of course our course for identification of this making, and also for the reasons of authority and no copying of work. So next is the table of contents. That word itself, content, this covers what is inside the magazine, in which here you'll see the pages and the subtopics that you can scan along the way. The purpose of the table of content is to give the readers an overview of the contents, and it organizes our documents pages. It also allows readers to go directly to their specific section of the topic. Because there is a page involved, you let the readers easily find their desired topic to read. Next is the highlight. This gives the readers the definition on what is this topic all about. Here it discusses the safety procedures, the awareness, and elaborates the idea of being safety at work and may apply also at home. We also included the learning outcomes that summarizes the topic learnings. So first, it prevents injuries and death that are due to working conditions. Second, increase safety awareness. Third, maintaining the safety of individual. Fourth, meet the requirements of environment and occupational health.
So next, I will be discussing pages 1 to 3 in our magazine. So in page 1, it talks about fire safety. So what does fire safety mean? So fire safety refers to planning and infrastructure designed aimed at reducing the risk of fire or impeding the spread of the fire when one does break out. So fire safety encompasses the use of fire-resistant building materials, preventative actions, safety work practices, fire safety training, flame-resistant protective clothing, and more. So fire safety is very important to avoid and protect us from danger. So in order to avoid and protect against the destruction caused by fire, so fire safety is very important in the workplace or at home. So fire safety reduces the danger of death and property damages caused by flames. So developing and implementing fire safety is very important for the protection of everyone who may be engaged in the facility during a fire emergency. So next slide. So here are the 6 steps for fire prevention safety. So first, install and test smoke detectors regularly. So install a smoke alarm on every level of the home and outside sleeping areas. Smoke alarms should be tested every month and batteries changed annually. So it is very important to have a smoke detectors in our homes, because if we suffer a home fire, so a smoke detectors can reduces our chances by dying by nearly half. So by properly installing, testing, and maintaining our detectors, you can ensure that they are working and will notify you if a fire happens. So installing a smoke alarm is a crucial step in ensuring the safety of your house and your family in a fire situation. So in a result, in serious injury and death, so smoke detectors alert people to a fire and give them time to escape. So the second one is develop a fire escape plan. So designate a safe, accessible meeting spot outside, away from your home. A fire escape plan should be devised and practiced at least twice a year. So it is very important to develop a fire escape plan in our place so that our family members know exactly how to leave our home when there is a fire. So with this, plan, it can save people's lives, and it may help firefighters put out a fire faster because they don't have to worry about rescuing anyone from a burning home when they arrive. So the third one is stop, drop, and roll. So stop, drop to the ground, and roll if your clothes are on fire. Families should know this technique and it should be practiced with children. So if our clothes catches fire, so we can apply stop, drop, and roll. So other children get confused about what to do kanang when to stop, drop, and roll. So it is very important for children to know when to do this. So parents must kanang teach this technique to their children to prevent the accident of a fire. So because if we use this technique in the wrong way, this could lead to a very dangerous for children. So stop where you are, do not panic and do not run because the flames spread faster when you run. So drop to the ground or floor unless your sleeves are on fire. So cover your face with your hands and to prevent facial burns and lung damage. So do not cover your face if your shirt sleeves are on fire. So lay flat on the ground or floor. So roll back and forth over the flames to smash the fire out. So this action takes the air supply away from the flames and extinguishes the fire. So the fourth tips is assemble an emergency supply kit. So make an emergency supply kit and include things like a flashlight, batteries, a whistle, blankets, and water. An extra supply kit should be kept in a car in case you are unable to immediately return inside. So it is very important to have an emergency kit because disasters can happen anytime. So which is why it is very important to be prepared ahead of time. So with the proper preparedness, so you can help keep your family safe from fire. So the fifth one is gather emergency contact information. So maintain a list of emergency contact numbers and cell phones and keep it in the supply kit. So an emergency can occur at any time. So as a result, having the appropriate information for each member to secure their safety in the disaster is important. It's very important. So contact information is important because it allows us to contact them ahead of time if we are in danger. So don't wait until it's too late. So the sixth one is store important documents in a safe place. So find a safe place to store important documents like birth certificates and financial information. So you should even consider making copies of these documents and storing them in a secure off-site location. So it is very important that we keep our documents in a safe place so that we have a so that we have a copy if there will be an emergency happening. So fire is an element that burns the objects around it. So documents or important belongings must be placed in a secure area so that when this situation comes, we will be able to save it. So next is who are most at risk. So first, elderly people. So elderly people, so we know that elderly people have a weak strength, so it is very hard for them to escape the fires faster. So especially for elderly people who live alone. So it is very important that we teach them the steps on how to escape if there is a fire. So with these steps, we teach them. This can help them to be safe if a fire happens. So because they have the idea of what to do. So the second one is people who are less self-reliant due to a mental or physical disability. So people with disabilities may not be able to quickly escape if there is a fire because they may find that it hard to move or hard to respond in the said situation. So especially for those who are blind, so they cannot see the pathways, the objects that are falling, and flames are coming towards them. So the last one is children. So it is very important that children learn about fire safety early because this will help them to reduce risk. So children nowadays are playing with mga dangerous things like lighters and outlets. So this is why other house burns because of this. So it is very important for parents to teach their children about what to do if there is a fire so that we can prevent the risk. So and no one is in danger. So the next is how do we improve awareness of fire safety? So to improve awareness of fire safety, the community fire safety system must be the central approach. So this must be done through its daily implementation, not only by governments and fire rescue services, but also by national and European fire safety campaigns. So for community fire safety to be successful, a system must be implemented to measure its effectiveness. So moreover, more scientific research must be conducted into how the fire safe behavior of people can be positively influenced. So we can improve awareness by making seminars, training, and doing fire drills. So in this way, your community will see what to do in case of emergency. And because of showing them what to do, they will easily understand it. So for example, in our community, so there is a fire prevention month which we will be held in the month of March. So the fire station will be the one to implement such activities, and we will see most in public places their campaigns about fire prevention. So the next slide is what are some causes of fire. So first, everything that surrounds you may be cause of the fire. So yes, so for example, the outlets, lighters, LPG tank, and many more. So these things can cause fire, so we must be vigilant in using them for us to be far away from risk. So the second one is be a responsible owner. So we must be responsible for everything that we buy, like LPG tank or anything that can cause a fire. So we should check them if they have a defect for us to prevent the fire. So if there is a defect in it, so you can report it to the store where you buy it so that they can replace it with no defect, and for them to be aware of selling those defects so that they cannot sell again. So the third one is the cause of the fire may prevent if we are being educated in the rest of fire. So being educated on the rest of fire is very important for us to prevent and protect our loved ones in case there is a fire. So we can save their life if we know the fire safety steps. So we must go on training so that we have a knowledge of what to do if there is a fire or any emergency. So the fourth one is fire is often the result of unintentional negligence, irresponsible behavior, or product or technology defects. So yes, this is one of the reasons why fire begins. So other people can buy a product without knowing that product has a defect, like outlets. So if outlets have a defect, so this can lead to a fire. So overall, so educating people about fire safety is very important for them to be aware of what to do and what is the leading cause of fire so that we can prepare ourselves and our family can prepare too in every emergency.
Next, I will be discussing our magazine pages 4 to 6. In our magazine page 4, here it contains some of the causes of fire. You will be knowing each of them, why they consider the causes of fire. So first is the appliances and equipment. Any device that generates heat is a potential fire hazard. Cooking vessels that are left unattended are a frequent cause of avoidable fires. So an example would be stove, heater, computers, and electric fans. If kanang mabiyaan ni, so posibilidad nga mo ni makakause of fire. Second is candles. Every candle comes with a warning. A burning candle should never be left unattended. Yet, many candles are often forgotten and can burn out of control. The third one is electric systems and devices. Any device that uses electrical power has the potential to start a fire. An overheated lighting equipment comes in at the top of the list. Shady electrical work within a home, poorly connected circuits, loose wires, improper grounding is also a danger often known to homeowners. So example ani is kana pong outlet nga kanang puno gani, so mo na siya posibilidad po nga mag-cause of fire. Niya kanang mga ground, niya kanang mga short circuit. The fourth one is smoking. Among the most common causes of house fires is the consequence of negligent smoking habits. People sometimes fall asleep while smoking. In doing so, they can set their bed, chair, or couch on fire, which can easily result in a fatality. Another avoidable hazard is discarding still hot ashes into a trash can where they can ignite. The fifth one is chemical and gases. Home fires can easily be caused by sources of natural gas or propane gas. An errant spark combined with a small leak can create a combustible situation. Improper mixed household chemicals can also trigger combustion, which is why it's important to conduct such activity outside the home setting. So example, an chemical and gases is found at home is kaning gas stove or butane. And the last one is children. Small children unknowingly playing with fire or matches inside a home are one of the leading causes of house fire. Though there may be no way to curb their curiosity entirely, it's possible to mitigate potential disaster by talking to children about how destructive careless behavior around fire may be. So, kaning mga bata, so na-adjoy ka ng kanang warning, ani nga, kanang sa matches bitaw, so keep away from children. Kay, na posibilidad nga dula-dulaan rin nila with unknowingly nga dangerous din siya. So anyways, let's now go to the next page, which is the fire safety drills. So in this page, you will know the importance and purpose why fire drills are being introduced and being discussed by the government or by the organization. This is to help and assist us to become prepared when there is a sudden occurrence of fire in our area. So, the purpose of fire drills is to reinforce proper evacuation routes and practices, and to have proper action whenever there is a fire in our area. So, dire, ang purpose of fire drill is para ma-familiarize nato ang dapat natong buhaton kung naa nay sunog. Kabalo na taog asa ta mo padong or kung asa na locate ang mga fire extinguisher, fire alarms, fire exit nga pwede nato magamit para makasave og life sa uban. So, importance of fire drills is to give awareness and protection of every individual about the practices we need to acquire when there's a fire. So, importante jud ang fire drill in a way nga makahatag nato og kaalaman para kita maluwas sa sunog. Kay unsaon na lang og wala tay alam og unsay buhaton og naay sunog, naay posibilidad nga mabilin tas building or worse maapil tas sunog. So the next page this is a continuation of fire safety drills. In this page, it contains fire drill procedure as well as the two types of drills, which are the lockdown and evacuation drills. So ilailahon na to ning duha ka drills. Lockdown drills, students are to clear the halls and report to the nearest available classroom where they are to hide and stay as silent as possible. So, makonduct running lockdown drills if the conditions inside the building is safer than outside the building. Like for example, na ay school shooter or kanang na ay ambush sa school. While evacuation drills designed to prepare students, teachers, administrators, and other people in the school to leave the building quickly and in a pre-planned and organized fashion in the event of danger. So opposite ra sad ni sa lockdown drills, which is if the conditions outside the building is safer than inside the building, then kani nga drill maunay makonduct.
Next, I will introduce to you our page 7, 8, and 9 in our magazine. All you need to know about earthquake. There are 4 different types of earthquake. The first one is a tectonic earthquake. When the stress on the edge overcomes the friction, there is an earthquake that releases energy in waves that travel through the Earth's crust and cause the shaking that we feel. The second type of earthquake is a volcanic earthquake. The movement results in pressure changes where the rock around the magma has experienced stress. At some point, this stress can cause the rock to break or move. This seismic activity is used by scientists to monitor volcanoes. Earthquake can trigger volcanic eruptions through severe movement of tectonic plates. The third one is a collapse earthquake. Earthquakes can trigger landslide and mudslides, especially in areas with water-soaked soils. Landslides may result in falling rocks and debris that collide with people, trees, animals, buildings, and vehicles. They also block roads and disrupt utility lines. And the last one is an explosion earthquake. A nuclear explosion can cause an earthquake and even an aftershock sequence. However, earthquakes induced by explosions have been much smaller than the explosion, and the aftershock sequence procedures fewer and smaller aftershocks than a similar size of earthquake. Not all explosions have caused earthquakes. And in most situations, you can protect yourself if you immediately dropped, cover and hold, and dropped down onto your hands and knees before the earthquake knocks you down. This position protects you from falling but allows you to still move if necessary. Second is cover. Cover your head and neck and your entire body if possible underneath a sturdy table or desk. If there is no shelter nearby, get down near an interior wall or next with your arms and hands. The last one is hold on. Hold on to your shelter or to your head and neck until the shaking stops. Be prepared to move with your shelter if the shaking shifts it around. Know what situations you can protect yourself if you immediately drop, cover, and hold on. do to keep yourself and your loved ones safe during an earthquake. In page 8, it talks about earthquake drills. In most situations, if you feel shaking or get an earthquake alert immediately, you can drop, cover, and hold on. First, drop, where you are onto your hands and knees. This position protects you from falling but allows you to still move if necessary. Second is cover your head and neck with one arm hand. If there is no shelter nearby, get down near an interior wall or next to low-lying furniture that won't fall on you, and cover your head and neck with your arms and hands. Last is hold on until the shaking stops. Be prepared to move with your shelter if the shaking shifts it around. So be ready because each time there is a major disaster, lives are lost. Preparation can cut down on the loss of lives, which is why you should have a plan in place in case there is an earthquake. That training will teach you everything you need to know to be prepared in the event of a disaster. If an earthquake hits, you could lose power. In page 9, it talks about the personal protective equipment. PPE is equipment that will protect the user against health or safety risks at work. This section explains the obligation for providing personal protective equipment to employees and different types of PPE available. So there is the importance of personal protective equipment. When hazards cannot be eliminated through engineering and or administrative controls, PPE must be used to protect the eye, face, head, feet, hands, arms, body, ears, and lungs. PPE in preventing injuries such as first, the chemical burns to the eyes. It quickly diluting the chemical reduces the chance of serious eye damage. The second is chemical irritation to the eyes and skin. Sometimes it is something as simple as wearing contact lenses for too long or staring at a computer screen for a likely period of time without a break. The third one is particulate matter on the eye. Particulate matter is strongly linked to human health and has detrimental effects on the eye. And next is heat burns. Thermal burns are skin injuries caused by excessive heat, typically from contact with hot surfaces, hot liquids, steam, or flame. And next is cuts and abbreviation. Cuts and abbreviations are minor or major wounds that consist of an injury that breaks or removes the skin. Most small cuts and abbreviation can be treated successfully at home. The treatment here is to clean and protect the wound, promote healing, and minimize the risk of infection. So there is the benefits of PPE. It is just as important to protect yourself or your cleaning crew from strong disinfectant cleaners and chemicals as it would be for a cook to protect themselves from burns and cuts in the kitchen. Every job has its own hazards, and cleaning is no different. The benefits of investing in personal protective equipment for your staff are numerous and should not be taken for granted. Remember, your goal is to maintain employee and customer safety while reducing any risk to the long and short-term health of your employees. Here are some critical benefits that you should consider before purchasing your next batch of personal protective equipment. The first one is fewer injuries. If employees are equipped with appropriate safety measures, inevitably there will be fewer injuries. First and foremost, this benefits the welfare of your workforce, but it also have a positive impact on your business, health and safety culture, reputation and bank balance because you won't be subject to fines and claims. The second is less sickness. In many cases, workplace injuries can result in employees needing time off work. This can cost you in two ways. First is you'll have less manpower to maintain productivity and meet deadlines. And second, you may have to pay the employee sick pay. The third one is stay on the right side of the law. PPE is covered by the Personal Protective Equipment at Work regulations in 1992. In addition, under the Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulations 1999, you have a legal obligation to assess and manage any risks that derive from work-related activities. The fourth one is retention struggles. Positive health and safety cultures can boost overall morale and prove to employees that you genuinely care about them. Negative health and safety cultures do the opposite. After all, who wants to work for an employer who disregards their general safety and well-being? Your employees are your most expensive asset. Invest in them. The fifth is recruitment. If your retention rates at rest, your recruitment drive will likely suffer too. Put yourself in the position of a job seeker. If one business has a bad reputation for looking after its staff and the other has a clean shed, and this could prolong your recruitment process, make it more expensive and compromise the caliber of candidates that apply, all obviously undeniable. The sixth one is reputation. For starters, a disgruntled employee might spread the word themselves, or if you face a fine or enforcing authorities may publish your case online. The latter in particular could be seen by any and everyone, including current customers, prospective customers, partners, and investors. And the saying, there's no such thing as bad publicity certainly wouldn't be the case. And number seven, lost business. If your reputation suffers a blow, it could have a snowball effect on your business bottom line. For example, you might lose your competitive edge in tenders, business might be less willing to partner with you, and your PR efforts could be compromised. And above all, it is just as important to protect yourself or your cleaning crew from strong disinfectant cleaners and chemicals as it will be for a cook to protect themselves from burns and cuts in the kitchen. Every job has its own hazards and cleaning is no different.
Today, I will discuss the pages 10 to 12 of our magazine. So, the first one is the uses of personal protective equipment. So, the first one is a hand protection for falling or flying objects, overhead objects. So, the next is hearing protection, loud tools and machinery poorly maintained equipment. Third, chop pans, for leg protection in the using any tools like chainsaw and etc. The next one is foot protection, falling or rolling object, sharp or heavy objects, wet and slippery surfaces, uneven surfaces, hot surfaces, and electric hazards. The next is the eye protection, blowing dust or particles, metals, shavings, acids or caustic liquids, welding lights. Next is high visibility vest, errant vehicles, distracted drivers. Next, hand protection, hand protection used to sharp or hot objects, chemical, biological, or electrical hazard. The next is harness lanyard, working more than 6 feet or more above a lower level. The next topic is good occupational equipment and techniques. As occupational therapist, your singular focus is to help your patient maintain or return to a fulfilling life, but the way to do that look very different across each person you work with. So there are methods, resources, and equipment pieces out there. It takes time to identify the most important therapeutic tools that can address all your patients' different needs, whether that's regaining fine motor control, relearning how to walk, or eliminating discomfort and dysfunction in daily activities. So this article will give you through overview of the most common and effective tools that occupational therapists use to meet the special needs of children. So we will cover occupational therapy equipment overall, but with special notes about how they can be used in the classroom environment as well. So if you read our other articles about tools for school, fidgets, and creating a sensory informed classroom, this article will add to your knowledge so you can best support your classroom needs. So occupational healthcare professionals offer a unique suite of services patients whose injuries or degenerative disease have caused them to lose the ability to perform work-related or leisure activities. What sets occupational therapists apart is their unique training in using techniques that help patients resume the activities they enjoy doing or need to do for work. So successfully administering these techniques often requires specialized equipment too. So work equipment is defined as a machinery, appliance, or apparatus tool or installation for use at work. The scope of the work equipment is therefore extremely wide. So work equipment is found and used in every department in the hospital settings. Every year, there are a number of accidents from using work equipment. Many are serious and some are fatal. So what to do? There are features in residential buildings and attributes among residents that can be related to fire, hazard, and fire-related injuries and deaths. The most important point of this study is to focus the preventive strategies, including environmental modification, promotion of safety rules, and changes in risk behavior among residents. Policymakers should pay more attention to these important issues in order to promote safety and injury prevention in the relation to building fires. As soon as an accident or injury happens, business owners should follow these tips. So, get work to a safe place, move any injury workers away from the area if it is dangerous, and make sure other employees that stay clear. Assess the situation, assess the injury, gather information, and keep evidences. So lastly, here's the earthquake safety tips. In before, know the hazards, prepare and store, have a plan. During, do drop, cover, and hold. Move to an open area, stop and stay inside the car. Then after, assess your situation, establish communication, be prepared for aftershock. So, we all are aware of these tips and drills in occupational and also applied at homes. As these are all discussed, it helps you to review your knowledge when you are at school or being educated by organizations.
Next, I will introduce to you our magazine from pages 13 to 15. So in page 13, we have the conclusion. So this article entitled Operational Health and Safety Procedures practices, and regulations, encourage everyone to be mindful and be responsible of your actions to prevent any unwanted incidents that they may risk lives and injuries to many people. So through this, you may educate and knowledgeable in terms of any accidents may happen at home, in the community, and in workplace. So these safety procedures are big help not just by yourself but also to everyone else. And end of this article, the intended learning are ways, safety tips, and preventing hazardous incidents on workplace or even at home. So here are some ways you can work to stay safe on the job. Number 1, be aware. To be aware, always be alert to what's happening in your surroundings and remember that your safety is your responsibility. Number 2, maintain correct posture. So use the correct posture to protect your back while at work. Number 3, take breaks regularly. If you're feeling tired and burnt out, it can make you less likely to be aware of your surroundings and its common cause of workplace injuries. Number 4, use equipment properly. Always take the proper precautions when you operate a machinery or using tools. Number 5, locate emergency exit. Always know your emergency exit are located and keep the path to clear them. So number 6, report safety concerns. If you notice a potential safety hazard or risk, report it to your supervisor immediately so they can address the situation. Number 7, practice effective housekeeping. Maintaining a clean and organized workplace environment, it helps us to have some easy works too. Number 8, make use of mechanical aids. We need to take extra time to obtain a wheelbarrow, rank, conveyor belt, forklift, or other mechanical aid to assist you in lifting heavy objects. Number 9, reduce workplace stress. Stress can distribute to difficulty concentrating and depression, make it hard to be alert at work. Number 10, use appropriate safety equipment. It is important to use the proper safety equipment for the test to help protect yourself from injury. Although employers are responsible for the health and safety management of their organization, employees are also play a large part in keeping the work environment healthy and safe, so every individual's safety remains their personal responsibility. Number 2, don't take shortcuts. Number 3, clean up messes and spills as soon as possible. Number 4, keep your work area clean and organized. Number 5, make sure that all emergency exits are clear of obstacles. Number 6, always be alert on the job and attentive to what is going on around you. Number 7, take regular breaks so that you can maintain focus. Number 8, be vigilant it comes to observing safety signs and instructions. Number 9, make sure you know where the first aid box is located as well as your closest exit. Number 10, immediately report any incident or identified hazard injury to your supervisor. So the 10 safety tips is very useful for us to be safe, and we must follow those steps in order for us to be aware and protect ourselves from any unexpected incidents. In page 14 is about advertisement. First is, in this activity conducted with the aim to equip the Army's personnel with adequate knowledge to face natural disaster that may come anytime. Second, Army personnel and civilian employees actively participated in the drill. And third, by Disaster Resilience and Management or DRM Committee participated in the first quarter nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill or NSED. The event was facilitated by Office of Civil Defense or OCD and the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council or NDRRMC. So in this content, it is clear that through advertisement, the aim is to reduce the potential damage and suffering that disasters can cause. So while disaster management cannot prevent disasters, it can prevent them from becoming compounded as a result of neglecting causal factors and manageable risks. The more people knowledgeable, the more safer. And for the last page of the magazine, which is page 15, is about safety procedures and safety practices. So first, to refresh the employees' readiness in times of disaster, a fire, and earthquake drill. Second, the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Safety Organization of the Philippines has also joined the drill and made observation from possible improvement and/or best practices. And third, according to Maria Aleta Nogro, Chief of the OCD, or Disaster Risk Reduction and Management, or DRRM Division, said that the drill is an information and education campaign to ensure the individual awareness and case of earthquake. And last, according to Maria Aleta Nogro, Chief of OCD Disaster Risk Reduction and Management, or DRRM Division, said that the drill is an information and education campaign to ensure individual awareness and case of an earthquake and its hazard. So the purpose of safety procedures and practices is to reduce the risk to health and safety in the workplace and reduce to the likelihood of an injury through improving employees know how to work safely when carrying out the tasks involved in their jobs.
And lastly is the ending page. As you can see, what is on our cover page is also on our ending page. We only added the all right reserve in the purpose that you can retain all right provided by copyright law. As such, another reason for cannot reproduce, distribute, and adapt any part of the work without consent. The date was also added to identify when it was started and it did finished making the work. The logo on the course was still added. And the group names and references was also added. And that's it. That's the end of our discussion of the topic and also the process of magazine. In short, the input of the said magazine. Thank you for listening and have a good day everyone. Adios.